Welcome to episode 122 of the Better with Running podcast. My name is Chris Armstrong and we have a massive show just before Christmas. Tonight we've got not one but two special guests. Host as normal, Zacca Newman, he's here with me. How are you, Zacca?
Going well, mate. Yes. Excited to be getting towards Christmas, mate.
Mate, it's not Sunday. It's nearly here.
Yeah.
I know one person is going to be very excited about Christmas is our other guest tonight. Sophie, Fitt, how are you, mate?
Good, Chris. How are you? Hi, Zacca. How are you?
Hey, Soph.
Nice to connect with you guys again. Yep, very excited about Christmas. Very excited. Love this time of year.
Mabel's excited.
Yes. Yep. We're so stoked to be having a second Christmas where she's got absolutely no idea what's going on. Santa is behaving accordingly.
Yeah.
What's Mabel asked for Christmas this year?
Well, fortunately, she is non-lingual, but Josh has taken it upon himself to buy her golf clubs because he's decided we want her to be an elite golfer because they make a lot of money.
Smart move. She
hasn't. I mean, everyone says, "Oh, we just want our child to be happy. We're not going to push them," and we're like, "No, we want her to be a golfer."
Oh yeah, I'd say driving range. Boxing Day once it's open.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that she can't stand up. She can work on the grip.
That's all right. And
then she can, she can be inspired by a number of, Korean women's golfers.
Yeah.
I think the name Mabel really fits that whole golfing sort of scene. So yeah, we can't wait. We're going to turn our child into a professional golfer and retire off her.
Get on a live tour. Don't worry about the sports washing in South.
So yeah, she's getting golf clubs.
Nice. Hey, Soph, also, we were watching, we know last time we called up, you were preparing for the move. The move has happened. How's the new digs?
Yeah, so I'm operating out of a new space at work. So Fitzroy Foot and Ankle Clinic has relocated to a different part of Fitzroy North. We're now on St George's Road for our Melbourne listeners. It's really good, thanks. All really good. It's been pretty smooth. Everything's gone really well. A couple of days of just internet issues, hotspotting the mobile phone and whatnot, which is a little bit annoying. But generally speaking, no major issues. Patients have transitioned really well. That's always the biggest thing, that you just want to make it easy and straightforward for your patients. So it's exciting. It's a big step forward for our clinic to be in our own space, and we really like it. And just with time, we will continue to work on the actual physical space to make it feel more homely to us. But we're really excited. And a shout out to any allied health professionals, not podiatry, but physiotherapy, osteopathy, myotherapy, exercise physiology, dietetics, psychology, anything. We do have a really beautiful space that we're going to lease. So if anyone's listening and you are interested in leasing a room in Fitzroy North, get in touch with me, because it's something we really want to do, and we're looking for the right person, the right business. And anybody is welcome to reach out if that's something that's relevant to them and where they're at with their own business or clinic.
Except another podiatrist.
Look, it's probably strange to have two podiatrists. I mean, you can come if you honestly want to be a podiatrist, come and work for us.
Bit of guerrilla marketing there, Chris. I like it.
It would be super weird to have like Fitzroy Foot and Ankle Clinic and then like Fast Feet Podiatry in the same space. But look, there's enough feet to get around everyone. So if you're a pod, I mean, we don't discriminate. So but we're actually also recruiting pods. So if you're a podiatrist, hit me up also.
Well, we'll just send you an invoice for all these plugs here, Soph.
I've got a few more. Do you want me to start now?
Well, we have got a big show, and we got you on first because we're just rejigging things this week, because you've got to put Mabel to bed soon. So
Thank you.
What we wanted to do, obviously, big show. We're going to talk about our weeks, Chriso. We're going to have a bit of around the grounds, and we've got obviously yourself, Soph, to talk a bit, your health corner. I think we coined that term. I know we're going to come up with a better term next year, but
we're kind of rolling with it.
But yeah, we're going to talk orthotics tonight, and bit of a potentially controversial subject in pod world, but keen to hear more about that and unpack it, because I know personally I've had an athlete that has transitioned into orthotics and had a couple of questions about it. So yeah, pretty keen to hear your thoughts on it. But before we go there, I know this is a pretty broad, open-ended questions, but I think for listeners and myself included, is like, as you touched on Fitt's pod, you've moved into new space, but how do people end up at a podiatrist? Or you mentioned allied professionals. Yeah, what are the first steps in landing at a podiatrist?
So to see a podiatrist, a lot of people in the community, I couldn't tell you how many people, but a lot of people just know that a podiatrist specializes in complaints, presentations, concerns, anything relating to foot health. So people with a moderate to high health literacy would make that assumption themselves, that if they have a problem with their foot or their feet or their lower limb more extensively, they would make that call themselves. In the same way you'd make a call of when to see a GP, or whenever you would consult someone else. So it's probably some work we have to do as a profession, is to inform people and increase their health literacy to better understand that if you have any sort of complaint, presentation, concern, question, worry, anything at all relating to the foot, a podiatrist probably is your very best first point of call, because that is our specialist area. Hold on 2 seconds. Josh. Sorry. For other people, it might be through word of mouth. Like they might ask a running coach, they might ask a mate, they might just be talking to a colleague about a sore foot, and that person might say, you should see a podiatrist. So that would be the person who's informed about podiatry being the first point of call for a foot presentation. If not, if someone has absolutely no idea that there is an allied health profession who would be suitable for consulting for a foot presentation, then a lot of people do start with their GP, and that's always a good, your general practitioner is a fantastic starting point for absolutely anything you're concerned about with regards to your health. So GP, physiotherapy, osteopathy, myotherapy, chiropractics, they all know a lot about lower limb and foot health. And so for a person who trusts their insert allied health professional, feels comfortable with them, knows that person knows them really well and their body really well, they would I'm sure they see those people for concerns and complaints of the lower limb and foot. And in many cases, those professionals do an exceptional job treating the lower limb and foot. I guess when we get referrals from those people is when it's a little bit out of their scope and they feel concerned that they're just not fully understanding the presentation, the complaint, or not having much success with the management plan, and then they refer to us. But we get heaps and heaps of people who know to go to a podiatrist with a sore foot, or alternatively will Google something with regards to their foot and will be informed from the internet that a podiatrist could be their could be the best person to see.
Nice. I think they've covered that off really well. Chriso, you got an opening question around orthotics?
Yeah, this one's a little bit tongue-in-cheek. It's, I suppose, so why as a runner would I not go and buy a set of orthotics from a 16-year-old kid at the athlete's foot when I could, maybe I'd certainly be best to go and see a podiatrist and have a proper conversation and perhaps look at getting some custom orthotics if that's something that I actually need. Is there a reason why people sort of just wander into the athlete's foot and grab something off the shelf and think that that'll do the job?
Any product that's sold over the counter, to put it simply, there's not a lot to it. It's probably more of a glorified shoe insole. It might have a very tiny bit of arch support. However, anything that is sold without the recommendation or the guidance of a professional, there's honestly not much to it. And I see a lot of those sort of Dr. Scholl products that come in from the chemist. It's the same sort of thing that are sold in, I believe, shoe stores like the Athlete's Foot. There's just not much to it. It's no more than a glorified shoe insole. If you buy that product and you put it in your shoes and you honestly think it's doing something great, go for it. You can wear whatever you want. There's no hard line. There's no rules. You can do honestly whatever you want. However, looking at if you do require the support of an orthotic device, it's unlikely that need is going to be met by something sold over the counter from a shoe store like TAF. And additionally, whilst a 16-year-old salesperson has probably been well educated on the footwear, I'm not entirely sure that person's going to be the best person available to you to give you that advice on what you need, especially as a runner with probably fairly specific needs.
That was a very diplomatic answer. Well done.
But it's like anything in any chemist, anything that's sold over the counter, it's safe. It's going to be fine. It comes with an element of discretion by the purchaser. Understand that, taking upon yourself to make that decision about something you need for your health or your body, is again at your discretion. It's without an expert guiding you. So understand what that represents. And but honestly, if you buy it and it's fine and it works for you and it's the best thing that you've had in your shoes, half your luck. It's a win.
So what are some of the things that you look for in a person that presents to you, Soph, where you think, what helps you make the decision that orthotics would be beneficial for them?
So it's pretty extensive. I'll meet someone, I'll take a detailed history. It's like any kind of medical practitioner appointment, take a detailed medical history, understand where they've come from an injury history perspective, a health history perspective, understand what they've done leading up to the time of the appointment. So let's say the last 6 to 12 months from an activity point of view, understand what they're currently doing, what their goals are, and then assess their body quite comprehensively through a biomechanical and a physical assessment, assess their footwear, get a really good understanding of their lifestyle. So it's not just like how many Ks do you do running, because that makes up probably an hour and a half of each day, but what do you do all day? Like, are you standing on your feet? Are you standing on hard floors? Are you sitting at a desk? What does your lifestyle look like? What shoes do you wear? And then based on the presenting complaint and then the full picture, the full history and the history taking, the examination, the biomechanical, we are trained and we've got extensive experience in making a clinical judgment as to whether or not a person would benefit from an orthotic device which would modify their foot posture, or to put it simply, change their foot posture to place their foot in a better position to function, much like you would use a desk chair to change your posture to put your spine, neck, and head in a better position to function. So it's a pretty comprehensive kind of process to arrive at the decision of whether orthotic therapy is required for the person. It's actually very rarely achieved in the first consultation, because if it's considered potentially a realistic possibility for that person, then we might try some taping techniques to actually place their foot in the position that we want it to function in, and see how a patient responds to that. And that can give us a bit of an indication as to whether orthotic therapy is or is not necessary for that person. And yeah, that also involves sort of a bit of a process in terms of review and whatnot. There's not a lot of my patients who would come in and walk out with orthotics in the first consult, because there are a myriad of ways that we can treat foot and ankle and lower limb complaints without using orthotic therapy.
So would someone who hasn't got any complaints come in and get an assessment?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because maybe you don't know if you've obviously you would if there is something hurting or something sore, but potentially should you look at it as a runner that's upping their mileage or doing quite a bit of running, go, hey, I actually should check this out. Maybe I do need to be in a better place with my feet.
Mm-hmm. That's very proactive. We don't see much of that. We see, all health practitioners deal with reactive presentations. It's absolutely perfectly fine and a really good idea to have a biomechanical and a physical assessment by someone before you have any pain, symptoms, loss of function, anything at all. So it's a great idea. We don't see many of those people. I mean, you can do occasionally. However, that's a pretty rare presentation. If someone presents with no loss of function, no effect to their quality of life, no pain, no symptom, I'm not prescribing orthotics to that person. Even if they think they've read something or said something, heard something, my advice to them, I mean, they can ultimately get whatever they want, but my advice to them based on my clinical judgment is that in the absence of, no painful symptoms, no loss of function, it doesn't, when you're absolutely fine. For example, someone with a flat foot, I mean, a flat foot is not a pathology. There's nothing wrong. It's like having brown hair. It's like having green eyes. It's just the way you are. A flat foot is not an injury. So a flat foot doesn't need an orthotic just because you have a low arch profile or an overpronated, what we call the subtalar joint. So that's sort of an indication. But however, the perfectly most neutral foot type with a very neutral arch alignment and presentation may present with many symptoms, pain, injury, loss of function. Person's quality of life is affected, and they could be, we might be considering orthotic therapy to manage their symptoms, their pain, and improve their function.
Nice. Yeah, no, I definitely wasn't proactive when I this is when I was 15, I think. I got my first pair of orthotics and down at Olympic Park Sports Medicine with Jason Augusta. Yeah. And I've been in orthotics since. So yeah. And I know even then, transitioning, getting into them, it was always obviously a change. But in terms of wearing them in your runners, wearing them in your everyday shoes, racing flats, what are your thoughts around when you should be wearing them?
It's very individualized. So it always comes back to what is the person using or needing orthotics for. So it's very, very individualized. If I was prescribing, say, a generic prefabricated slimline orthotic to a person with plantar heel pain, because there's extensive research on the benefits of a prefabricated orthotic for the management of heel pain. For that sort of person, I'd be looking at all of their shoes across the day, shoes that they exercise in, shoes they work in, shoes they live in, and we'd be trying to get to a place where the orthotic fits comfortably and works well in all their shoes, because it's managing their symptoms and it's really helping with the overall pathology. However, it's very individualized. It really does depend. Is it a custom-made foot orthotic? Is it a generic prefabricated orthotic? What are we using it for? What are we trying to achieve? And most of all, what sort of shoes is it going in? Because the shoe can do a lot of the changing the posture of the foot, or the mobility, well, not the mobility, but the sort of the way in which the foot moves through the stance phase of gait, which is when your foot is in contact with the ground. So very shoe dependent, very lifestyle dependent, exercise dependent, very individualized, it really depends on the individual. And I guess that is the importance of having, those individual consultations with a podiatrist face to face who can work through that with you step by step. And it can change. Like, there's no hard and fast rule that when you get the orthotic, that these are the rules for the next 12 months. It might be a management strategy that's set up for the next 6 weeks with a view to look at it, revise, and see how the patient's progressing, see how things have changed, see how their life, life is transient. It's always changing. So it's, for some people, an orthotic is underneath their foot for a lot of things that they do. And for other people, it might just be for their sport and activity, or it might be more of a lifestyle work thing and they're actually more comfortable running without them.
Yeah, I know personally, I wear them all my running shoes, except racing flats, I don't wear them in, in the alphas or any of the super shoes, definitely not. And just my running shoes. And then every day I can get away with half and half. Some shoes I just don't fit into, and others and I'm not in those shoes for a long time.
Exactly.
But if I'm in an 8-hour day sort of shoe, an orthotic is generally under me. So
yeah. And those sorts of considerations are, very individualized. And it always comes back to what are we using the orthotic for? What are we trying to achieve with it? The racing flat sort of super shoe conundrum, obviously super shoes are, very more recent. It's working with that device. How slim is it? What materials have we made it out of? What shape is it? What does it look like? What do we need? I mean, those super shoes, you're really not, I guess, meant to have an orthotic underneath them, but you can't just tart everyone with that same brush of no orthotics in this shoe. It's just ridiculous. Every foot type is very different. Every individual is very different. But for patients who heavily rely on the benefits of an orthotic device under their foot, perhaps a super shoe sort of thing is not appropriate for them. Perhaps they're your more recreational runner, and we're looking at a pair of runners that really will accommodate the orthotic device so that they can maximize the benefits of it all the time, training, racing, everything, because getting through a race pain-free and pulling up really well to, run next week is far more important than wearing an Alpha Fly, because Eliud Kipchoge wears Alpha Flies. It's got to be very individual and personalized. And when you think of the mass population compared with the very, very pointy end benefiting from custom, from super shoes, you've got to sort of weigh it up. But I mean, I hate that broad sweeping term. It's a very, it's like I'm dodging the question, but it is awfully dependent on the individual person.
So have you seen an increase in the amount of orthotics that you prescribe for people, I guess with shoe technology changing, or is it still sort of largely the same?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't prescribe a lot of orthotics. So in a standard week at work, I only consult for sort of mornings a week. So I don't work full time. I'm not seeing hundreds of patients every week, but I'd be lucky to do one pair of custom made foot orthoses a week, if that. We do utilize generic prefabricated orthoses a little bit. So we use the Orthotic brand. Glenn, my business partner, has done his PhD comparing the use of a generic prefabricated orthotic like a Orthotic with a cortisone injection for the long-term resolution of plantar heel pain. So we've used Orthotics extensively from a research perspective, and we have a really good understanding of the benefits of that device. So I use them. I like them. They're nothing permanent. I set every patient up with the understanding that it's a 6 to 12 month plan, 12 to 18 months. If they're going really well, come and get another pair, because they're probably not going to last a lot longer than your 12 to 24 months. So I do enjoy prescribing them because I know a patient will do well in them. But again, I don't prescribe that many of those, like maybe one a day or less than one a day. Actually, it'd be less than one a day. So to answer your question about sort of quantity, I don't know. I really don't know. You'd have to speak to a laboratory about that, because they press them, especially from a custom point of view. We know shoes are doing a lot in terms of footwear technology is improving so much. So the materials that are being used, the quality of the foam in the midsole of the shoes is exceptional now. That does control the motion of the foot a lot. So potentially that is lessening the amount that orthotics are being used, but I don't know the quantities. I really couldn't tell you. I don't even track that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Thank you, Soph. I think this has been a really, obviously it's a quite a broad and general subject, but I think you've done a great job in just giving us an overview. And I think I know the listeners can obviously get in touch with you. You're at, do you want to give us the new address for those that...
What's this going to cost me?
We'll just tack it on the bill.
So Fitzroy Foot and Ankle Clinic, and we're at 330 St George's Road, Fitzroy North, Victoria. And yes, please get in touch if you need anything. I mean, I know that was very generalized, but and I don't want people to take things too literally, but just to have an understanding that, the best place to start if you're concerned about anything relating to the lower limb and foot, podiatrist or an allied health professional that you trust, and they know, and you know that they know the lower limb and foot really well, and you'll never go wrong.
I like it. Hey, before you have to duck off, put Mabel down.
Yep.
Quick update on your running.
Yeah, I'm going well. So what was my mileage last week? Maybe Probably 115k for the week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
so I'm chugging along.
Nice. Yeah, getting it done.
So ran with Sarah J this morning. I'm sort of still umming and ahhing about whether I do mountain to surf. I've got an entry, so that's cool if I want to do that. It'll just sort of be with regards to logistics and timing. No, all going well. I'm just 1 to 2 sessions a week, long run. Yeah, I'm probably not really doing a lot of massive sessions, but I'm feeling relatively fit off no session, or like the sessions that I am doing without doing extensive high intensity stuff.
And a bit inspired off the back of Sinead's record breaking run.
Yeah. Oh my God, wasn't she amazing? I've just got to go and get this child. She's screaming. So hold on 2 seconds.
Visitor.
We do. Feeling very inspired about Auntie Sinead, aren't we? No, she was amazing. It was, I wasn't surprised, in all honesty. I probably wouldn't have predicted she'd take 62 or 64 seconds off, whatever it was, but she was extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. When you look at her splits, she was just a metronome, and it's very, very hard to pull that off. She was remarkable. Yeah, she was so good, and couldn't have happened to a nicer, more deserving person. Yeah, so good. The best.
And you had a chance to catch up with her since she's returned?
Yeah, so I saw her not last Sunday, but the Sunday before. You know, our mate Hazy. So Hazy and I took Sinead out for brekkie. And she was in very good form and up and about, as you can imagine. Yeah. So no, it's good. It's just, I didn't really ask her that much about the race, to be honest. I don't know, it just kind of was what it was. Yeah. We'd sort of said, I was like, okay, Hazy, so don't tell her that we barely tracked a thing. Pretend that, and I was like, oh no, she's going to know. I was so frustrated by the night. You can see that part was very frustrating from a technical point of view, but she understood, and she knew we didn't see much until the finish shoot. But anyway, no,
very cool. Great. Awesome. So if we'll let you go, maybe we'll
sorry.
Getting up and about as well.
Yeah. So sorry, guys.
All right. Thank you, Soph. And have a great Christmas.
Yeah, you too, guys. Merry Christmas. Christmas. And to our community, everyone have a safe and happy Christmas. Travel safe and get lots of mileage.
We will catch up soon in the new year.
Cool. Sounds good, guys. See ya.
Thanks, mate.
Chriso, that was great to have Soph jump on. She's very good at the old multitasking.
No, she's done well, and Mabel's first podcast as well. A feather in a cap just before Christmas, so maybe we can get some more guest appearances from Mabel next year.
Sign her as one of the co-hosts next year.
Absolutely.
Get the golfing career.
Yeah, no, but maybe mini golf. We'll start Mabel off easy. When she's got time for us, she'll be out when she's a celebrity. She'll remember us little people. We gave her a start in the podcasting world.
Mate, let's chat about our week. So, bit of a training update. I noticed you nearly cracked 80 Ks for the week.
Nearly. I think
79.9.
Yeah, 70. Where are we? I think let's just double check that. 79.1. So
0.1.
Yeah, but no, I'll take that. That's my biggest week in a while. But yeah, and I've added an extra run in. I think I even did a double last week, which
okay.
Yeah, no, and it was
Does
only.
That mean you had another run in there?
Yeah, I did. Nearly killed me. So
slowly converting.
Oh, I'll tell you what, it's funny. So I had a myotherapy treatment booked for Wednesday morning. So after Pilates, which sort of meant that's generally my time when I'll go and do this sort of short run followed by strides, but it just wasn't going to work. So I still wanted Friday to be a rest day. So I thought, nah, we'll go and do it Tuesday afternoon. Packed the kit, got changed, got in the car, went out to go and do a little bit before Shep Runners Club session.
Yeah.
Pretty much just as I was getting out of the car, a big thunderstorm rolled through, and we just got smashed by wind and rain and just crap falling out of trees for about 15 minutes. And yeah, and then by the time I got back to, so it was just like a 4.5K loop. Got back and done some strides, and the storm had finished, and people are getting out of their cars bone dry, and I look like I've been for a swim. So it was pretty rough out there, but no, good week. Just under 80Ks, mostly easy runs. Doing my little running.
Sorry, Matt, there was the orange emoji that was in that double. Was that?
Yep, in the little orange shoes. So just
okay, gotcha.
Doing a bit more. Yeah, no, didn't get hit by an orange tree or anything like that. no flying citrus, thankfully, because that would have been quite hazardous to the old health. But no, thankfully, just the few K in the little orange shoes just to help with that little transition back into the spikes at some point. But body's feeling better. I wouldn't say I'm, super fit or anything, but knocking together some decent Ks, long runs feeling good. Session was pretty solid this week. So we did 6 by 1 minute hills out at the Botan into a 4K threshold. That's always a tough session, I find. So just a good meaty session, sort of get a bit of everything. I was running at probably around 5K pace, but it was probably closer to 3K effort up on these hills. And it's about a 4, probably a 4 or 5% gradient, which for me that's plenty. That really is plenty. So,
well, you still can run over the top of your that gradient. It's not absolutely. I reckon that's a pretty good percentage to be at.
Yeah, so probably it's only a minute, so you sort of take what the GPS says with a grain of salt. But most of those were sort of between 325 and 330, which I was working pretty hard. So it's always nice to do a session like that, and whether it's 400s and threshold or 1 or 2 minute efforts on the flat and threshold, or in this instance the hill reps and the threshold. I really love doing a bit of work and then relaxing back. Threshold effort. Just like it's just a nice, and I won't say easy because you're still doing a bit of work, but it's just a nice way just to relax into a bit of work, knowing that the really hard stuff is behind you. And I love it.
It's almost a mind hack in a way, because you come into these and you just go, oh, how easy does this feel? When you peel back the pace.
No, that's it. And you sort of I think on my wearing the heart rate strap again, so and the heart rate was jumping up into the low 180s on the hill rep, and then sort of for the threshold sort of sitting back around in that sort of mid 160s, which just feels quite almost therapeutic, I'd say. But it was a pretty decent session in the end. Tick under 35 minutes in all up, and a bit over 8K. So look, on the surface the numbers aren't that impressive, but coming away from it thinking we did a bit of work today. So no, it's good.
I find that with the hills and particularly hill sessions, the numbers don't really give you the indication of how well you hit the session or how well you work, because it's really the effort.
No, well, that's it. No one's looking at it, and you're not getting extra kudos because of the the average of the splits. And I doubt very few people are ever opening up one of your sessions to check exactly what you've done. So it's one of those ones that just looks like it's probably just a tempo or a threshold on paper. But it's in a perfect world, I'd love to do this one sort of at least once a month, just to give me a boost, because I find I really do get a good response from the body in this one. So
and then a bit of a party, mate, on the weekend.
We did. We had a double party. So we had our Run2PB Christmas party for our, my Shepparton crew over the weekend. So on the Saturday, myself and Anna went, started our long run and met the crew out at the Botan. So we probably got about 9 or 10K done before we met up with the crew. And we did a bit of a modified hills and threshold session with the group, because
that's a pretty hard coach. So I come for a Christmas party, but we're going to do some hill reps as well.
No, it was a two-part Christmas party, and I think the general consensus was because it was almost all the same group came along on Saturday for the hills and thresholders that came along last year and did the Michigan.
Oh yeah.
And the consensus very much was that we'd much rather do hills and threshold than ever look at doing the Michigan ever again, particularly on a hot, steamy morning. So, no, it was good. Like we sort of mixed it up and obviously catered it to the different abilities that we have in the group. So we all finished pretty much at the same time and just mixed the I guess the length of the threshold and the different amounts of reps that we did as well. So it was good to do a bit of a session together. We got a few photos.
So they were cool, yeah. And the hill session's good for that when you've got various, everyone's doing it and you can sort of support each other as you're going up and down the hill.
Yeah, absolutely. And probably the thing being there as a coach, I don't normally get to see all these guys run at the same time. So it was, probably nice for them to be able to shoot a few filthy looks my way. It just, really giving off the vibe that the session, like, no, this sucks. So, but no,
first rep, they're all smiling and everyone's, oh, Chris, that's a great idea. By rep 3 or 4, it's a different story.
Yeah, exactly. I think definitely appreciative of the fact that it's a nice, gentle walk or jog back down the hill for recovery. That was appreciated. But no, there was a bit of band flying around, which was good. Got a few photos. I think we definitely picked 10 or so of the good ones to put up, because there was a few where there's a few grimaces or pain expressions on the face. But that's okay. We'll sort of keep them for our chat group to have a bit of a laugh at. But that was the Saturday. And on the Sunday, we went out for lunch, which was really nice. We it's amazing when you're around your mates. And I see most of them at Shep Runners Club, but it's always in, it's running kit, it's shorts and a singlet, or all that sort of stuff. So it was pretty cool seeing the crew a bit sort of tizzied up for lunch. So no, I went out and it was like a nice little Italian place here in Shepparton in Friar Street, which is, I guess, our version of Lygon Street. Yeah. So lots of little cafes and nice places for lunch. So, had a good time, and just good to sort of share a few laughs and reflect on the year and, hang a bit of rubbish on each other. A lot of it was at my expense, but that's okay. I don't mind having the piss taken out of me. So,
it's been a big year, and if you even just looking across at your fence, the Strava fence, the blue fence, mate, it's you've put in a amount of work, and it's been super consistent as always. And always cool to celebrate with your training partners and your athletes. And I guess I did enjoy seeing that. Just back to that photo you had where you had a few Run2PB singlets. That's always cool to see.
Yeah, no, the guys certainly brought a few out. I had my shirt on, so it was starting to get a bit hot by that stage of the day. So we had to go and find a nice shady spot in one of the gardens to get a photo. But no, it's good. I'm really lucky that I've got a group of people that I've been working with for a while and developed some really good friendships with. And out of that, it's sort of great from a coaching perspective to sort of see how they've progressed on their journey, and they've certainly achieved a lot of great things as well. And as I said, I've made some great friendships out of it. I've got a friend, a training partner in Anna. So until I really met Anna, I'd never had a training partner before. So I guess in that sense, I've almost got a new lease on my running these last couple of years, to the point where not that I've had a stack of amazing results. I think we've had a couple. I've had one PB this year, but
also just looking back at putting yourself out there in the XDR season and racing, doing cross and doing a lot more races that you traditionally wouldn't have done.
Being able to do all that stuff, and it's the most Ks I've ever run in a year as well. So
how many did you knock out?
I think up to about 3,600 and something at the moment, which for me is huge. Normally I'd pick up a couple of niggles every year, and that had sort of put me low for a while, or and there would be a handful of days throughout the year, running by myself where I just couldn't be bothered, so I wouldn't run. And I'd say that honestly hasn't been a problem. That's part of having being accountable to Anna, that I'm going to be there, but also just the amount of fun that we have, that you're there for the social stuff, as much as the Ks. So
it's a lot of running, mate. I was just looking at me. I think I'm at 3,700 for the year.
Yep.
I'd say geez, I don't know. Yeah, it's a bit scary when you see the all-time. Have you got the all-time? You've probably been on Strava, but I had a fair chunk off. But yeah,
I can have a look.
I'm showing 17,500 Ks.
Oh,
And 1,200 hours of running.
when you look at it from a time perspective, it's a bit daunting. You think, shit, didn't I have like other things that I should have been doing?
Yeah, I mean, geez.
Oh.
No wonder the knees are struggling.
No. It just means you need.
And that's why they're and that's 10 years, and that's not. I had a good chunk where I wasn't posting much on there. I suppose if I'm looking at, if I'm doing this year's probably been a steady year of mileage, 3,700. I reckon I'd probably be closer to 4 on a bigger year. I'm not a huge mileage guy, so
mine tells me, and I don't know how many years I've been on Strava, but apparently I've got 22,431 Ks of stuff on Strava, and I can tell you now, there's only 4 of those would be bike rides, and the longest one would be about 30K. So I'm a bit dubious on the elevation gain though, because of where I run is traditionally very flat. Like in Numurkah, I would not have crested even a small bump in the road while I've been out there, but apparently I don't know how big Everest is. I could probably Google it, given I'm on a computer at the moment, but apparently my elevation all-time gain is 83,000 meters. I've got
119,000.
Mate,
yeah.
Good old Garmin. It's responsible for some quality data. But
when was your first post? I know it's probably boring listening, but when was your first Strava post?
Oh, jeez.
Because if you click on the down the next to your activities you can do, because I've gone back to 2009 to 2010, so there's a whole year I just posted twice. And that post in 2010 was that was an upload of I don't know what's going on there. There was a one run posted there of a running night at the Yarra Flats.
Yeah, okay.
12 years ago. Well, it's been a big year though, mate.
No, mate, no complaints. I know I've absolutely loved this year and everything that it's brought. It's definitely brought some fresh challenges, and I've also got to realise I'm getting older and I've been running a while, so PBs they don't exactly get handed out anymore. So, but some absolutely unreal experiences, and I guess we could probably talk about those a bit more next week. Do we have a podcast next week?
Well, I'll be around.
Yeah, I haven't got anything planned, so but we could maybe
knock something together.
Yeah, we could do maybe a bit of a year in review and talk about some of the highlights and the stuff that we've done. But everything that it's brought, and there's been challenges and everyone has those, but I mean, there's been so much that's just brought a smile to my face and been better than I thought it could ever have been. So lots to be grateful for.
Yeah, 100%. I think we're both on the same page in that we obviously, we're still trying to get on PBs, but we're getting so much enjoyment from the act of running and coaching and living through the eyes of a lot of our athletes who are doing unbelievable things in terms of PBs and goals and just stringing training together. Yeah,
no, that's exactly it. So, and the year's going to tick over, mate, and we're going to be trying to do exactly the same thing. Don't worry about that.
Mate, we'll be here next year talking about bloody running around the Yarra Flats, and you're at the Botan, and I no doubt we'll be recapping more running.
No, for sure. And what about yourself, mate? How'd your week go?
Yeah, I'm just looking back through mileage. Was a little bit lower than 82.4. So I don't know, maybe I had a rest day in there. I know I had I had my Christmas party last week. So I got the pass from the coach to have a day off just in case. And I probably could have run, to be honest, but I was happy to take that extra day off. But easy running through the week, and then had a session on. There was I'm just looking at through Strava. I think it was on the Wednesday. I ran in another fresh pair of ons. Some thanks to Luke Bell, past guest of the show, and Mr. On out at Richmond hooked me up with some of the Cloud Monsters again, which have been my go-to shoe. And loving a new colorway, sort of a Strava orange, if you like.
Nice.
I don't think they were going for that, but I'm going to go with it. And then I managed to get out a session on Saturday morning with an old training partner, Run2PB Coach, Madeline Heiner joined us.
Oh, Maddie.
So Mads was she's been chugging along in the background doing some Ks, and then we have run a few easy runs together. Sort of, she's over in Elwood Park, so often she's running towards us. Runs into the back of us on a couple of tan runs, but had put the feelers out to Elle and said, I need to jump in for a session. It's been a while between drinks, 18 months according to her Strava. She'd said first session back in the boys in 18 months. So her memory is probably a lot better than mine, but I know we hadn't done workouts together for a long time. So that was fun. And actually Kiwi Steve's session took precedent. He's got milers tomorrow, so we're recording on Wednesday here, and Al was happy to go with it because Kiwi had 4 by a K off 45 seconds. We were going to do 6 by a K.
Yeah.
So we decided, in consultation with Al, said, look, let's give this a go off 45 seconds. So just the 6 of them. Funny, we're warming up with Mads, and she's the ultimate box down player. I mean, I think she should be in the pro running scene. The amount of
the old VAL.
Just it's like, I think we all do it, and I know Mads is coming from, and I'm like, the highest of highs in terms of being a 2-time Olympic finalist, multiple Australian teams, Com Games, Olympics, World Champs, World Cross, you name it, she's done it. And she's now obviously taken a backward step in terms of her, pro running, but as in, actual running, professional running, to, more of a role with work and life, and obviously coaching with Run2PB. But she's sort of probably just, fails to recognize the amount of natural talent she has, because she's warming up going, I'll probably run, 350s, 340s, but like, Nancy running 100K weeks. Like, she's still getting the Ks out, albeit different paces and different.
She's still fit.
She's still fit, and you don't make Olympic finals, when you don't know what you're doing. And so she was down playing it, said, look, I'll try and hang with you guys at the start. And we called it out. I said, Mads, you're talking rubbish here. You're probably going to be off the front here. But I think as runners, like, we're not like sprinters, or we're quite humble, I think. And I think we don't like to put ourselves out there and say, hey, I'm really fit. And she comparatively isn't as fit as she was. But I think that's I guess that's just a quality that runners have, is that we don't, we tend to, be a little bit self-deprecating and don't really pump our own tires up. And obviously you want to have a little bit of, give yourself a little bit of, I guess, concession, so you don't put too much pressure on. But so she did. So we all started, and I could hear her within the first 200-300 meters. She's on the back, and we're running like 325s. I think she rolled her first K, I reckon, in 330. I was a 319. She continued to move on and probably hold that pace, I think. Solid session for Mads. But I was rolling with Al early, and then we sort of, Steve was well ahead. He was running probably at 310s. I'm just trying to bring up my laps because we did hit a bit of wind. We're doing this at Albert Park, and as you know, it can be a bit wild out there. So we had one of them we ran into the wind, and it was like a 325, the second rep, and Steve had sort of blown off, and I was in no man's land, so just sort of hanging in there. Got to the next one, downwind, 314, rep 4, 320. So started to feel good here in rep 4. I think sort of found my rhythm, felt strong, and yeah, went with it. And at this point, because it's such a short recovery, I was actually just continuing on with that 45 seconds, whereas a couple of Al was sort of looping back, Steve was looping back, and I just sort of, well, it's going to take me 45 seconds to turn around with my mobility. So I just kept the engine rolling.
Especially in the big shoes.
Yeah, I had the big stack height on, I had the alphas on, so I kept moving forward, and then our last two were back on the road on the Albert Park track, and we had a little bit of crosswind until the last rep was downhill, downwind, and 314 on the last rep, and I was working, but I wasn't absolutely. Probably the last 300, I was like, okay, I'm working here, but I'm not absolutely flat out. And these 45 seconds, like it's, you're used to doing it off 60, 90, even if you're giving it a whack. So it goes quick. It's a quick session. I'm just thinking overall, it's 6.8K and 330s. Your recoveries, you're straight into that jog, and then you're going again. So
45 seconds is nothing.
Yeah. I tell you, it feels like 15 seconds in the last two reps.
It is just the bare minimum, I reckon, for the heart rate just to come down enough.
Yeah.
That's where that extra 15 seconds is really handy. And it doesn't sound like much, but I reckon that the difference between 45 and 60 during K reps, massive.
And it is a like we're not running this at 10K effort. It's definitely not 10K effort. You're probably trying to sit in. I know the last one I was pushing it, and that's below 10K effort at the moment, but I think different way to attack this one, and I enjoyed the change up. I think and to be honest, maybe it suited me coming from that marathon background, is just to keep going, keep rolling and sitting at this pace. So good change up. Actually practiced a bit of some of Steve's techniques that we chatted about last week around mindset and trying to get rid of the negative
a bit of self-talk. It
was interesting because I was chatting to Steve about this after. I said, like, I tried it in the last two when I started to feel like I'm pushing, and then I sort of thought back to pace wise. I was like, sort of telling myself when it was like, oh, this feels a bit uncomfortable. I was like, well, hang on, this is around just under, or this is under or marathon pace back when you're fit. So you think, oh, I used to be able to do this 42K. So I sort of sell that into myself to go, relax, like you've done this before. And yes, some negative things still came over me. I was like, oh, hang on, you're not that runner now. Like you're in a bit of trouble here. Like, and then it was just a bit of a battle. And I said this to Steve, and he said, yeah, look, you just got to keep practicing. You got to remember when you do think of those negatives, like when you're having that internal debate, what is the next argument against that, that you can go to and say, hang on, no, I can do this, So quite interesting. And I think it's something that hopefully listeners, off the back of Steve's chat, I know a few people sent us messages saying it was a great chat, and that, they're practicing it in their workouts as well.
Seeing Steve was interested. There's a bit of banter on that session on Strava following that as well.
Oh, yeah, because he has this thing. I'm always telling him that he needs to put in description about what his workout is, and he doesn't believe he should. And I said, well, I'd keep telling him, you've got the fans, you got to keep them engaged, don't keep them guessing. And he thinks, oh, it's better if they're guessing, it's better if they don't know what they're trying to work it out. I said, no, they're just scrolling through, mate. You're losing kudos here.
Yeah, mate, there's just his social media pull is diminishing.
Yeah, but each to their own. Maybe he needs to do a few more ice cream posts or try and get that going.
Just something. That's all right. Well, we'll probably file some of that into the vault for the next time he's on to see if we can't get him a bit of pump his tires up a little bit.
Well, he's got his mention for the week. He'll be happy. Naomi's in town. She's back in Melbourne. So, he's a happy man, and he's got his mileless tomorrow night, which I'll go out and have a bit of a look. You'll jump on the stream, mate. Although it might be past your bedtime. He's on at 9:49.
What PM?
PM.
Oh.
It's milers is going down to, I think it's the end race in the it is stacked. I thought
milers is going to become a 2-day event at this rate. it's getting that popular.
Yeah, it's like 600 odd runners, I believe.
Bloody hell.
To Box Hill.
What a brilliant problem to have.
Oh, it's so cool that, we're seeing a lot of people that traditionally weren't involved in the sport, or particularly on the track, jumping in now and taking advantage of trying to have a go at a 1500. And I think it'll be a cool event, and we'll report back on Steve's performance. And so next week.
No, it'd be good. Be good to catch up with Tim one day and just have a chat about what he thinks has sort of led to that. I mean, he puts a lot of effort into Milers Club, but just it really has shot away this year. It'd be just interesting to get his thoughts on what he thinks led to that.
Yeah, definitely. No, Tim's a good man. I reckon he'd be up for that. Chriso, bit of a around the grounds or around the mountain, mate. This
yes, yeah.
Massive run from. Did you see the lead up to this event? We're talking about the Kosciuszko Miler. Well, they're calling it Ultra Trail Kosciuszko by UTMB. So it's I believe it's an Ironman event. They own the series, or the UTMB series, and I'm actually looking at a photo of a man we're going to chat to. But it looked absolutely epic. The days leading in, absolute chaos for the organisers. I know Marty Mashford, good friend of mine who does work for Ironman, was involved in the event, and they said they had to rejig the course the day before because of all the snow up there.
Snow in December.
Yes, this is December
in Australia.
If anyone, I'm sure a lot of our listeners would have seen all the photos coming up. It was just crazy. And our man who's been on the show previously, Tom James, TJ Ultra Runner on Instagram. Massive shout out, coached by Mattress. He managed to snag a new 100-mile PB, 23 hours and 6 minutes 51 seconds. On the way, mate, he stopped the clock for a 100k PB as well, as you do.
Is that a bit like running a 10k PB and a half?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah,
yes.
well, it's you get the PB and it's like, we've got another 60k to go.
Yeah. and I'll be honest, when I saw this, like it blew me away. Just think, TJ is an incredible athlete, and this is an amazing effort. But I didn't read it properly at first. I just saw 100, and my brain just instantly went, kilometers.
Yes.
As you do.
As any sort of half, same person.
Like, 100 Ks, what a brilliant effort. And I looked at the time and thought, okay, Kosciuszko, it's been snow.
It's tough,
Like it must have been a tough day. And but still, he's done really well, because I can't even begin to imagine what that'd be like. But then I sort of reread it, and no, not Ks, 100 miles. Like that's 160 Ks.
163.3, according to his Instagram post.
Yeah, no, sorry, TJ.
Don't forget that 3.3k at the end of 160.
Look, and to me, that extra 3k is probably unnecessary at that stage, but it's probably not what you want. But 100 miles in less than 24 hours. Look, bloody hell, that just the phenomenal feat of endurance because, I mean, for those that aren't familiar, Mount Kosciuszko, that's that is our biggest mountain in the country, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It is the highest mountain in Australia.
Just
I reckon we need to get TJ on next week if we can pin him down. I know he's obviously this week was full recovery mode / Christmas probably carb reloading.
No, I think I
Back
saw
of that.
I think I saw a photo of mattresses planned for the day after the race that popped up, and it was essentially around smash some quality alcohol and some food to celebrate. So yeah, no, I think and by the sound of it, TJ was very excited about that because he always follows his coach's instructions. So
To the letter.
yes, to the letter.
Kosciuszko's 2,228 meters. Just quick Google check for us. So yeah, it is definitely the highest, the tallest mountain in Australia. So yeah, it's just epic, isn't it? Absolutely epic.
That's amazing. I hope recovery is going well. I'm not sure what TJ's next goal is, but hopefully he pulls up well, and no doubt there'll be something sort of big on the radar that he's going to be chasing in 2023, and I'll look forward to seeing what it is.
I like on one of his posts, he was sort of obviously thanking Mattress and Body Refinery and a few other supporters, and someone had commented, one of his mates, I reckon, said, "Catch up at Park Run on Saturday for a It's like, mate, I'm just looking at his Instagram pictures and the Strava map. I'm almost taking a day off tomorrow.
Yeah, no. Cool. I hope TJ's got a volunteer role that day, that he's not planning on sort of knocking one out at Parkrun. But anyway.
Well, you'd probably feel like, well, if you can do 100 mile, you probably get yourself around for a 5K.
Yeah.
Jeez. Sure, he's adhering to the coach's instructions to fully recover.
Yeah, exactly.
And I wonder what's next for the great man.
No, it'd be good to see. And I suppose some other things this week, mate. Did you spot? I think there was two things. One maybe a world record, and one was just another bout of craziness. We're seeing a trend to take off in America. But what's this world record you found?
Well, this is our mates over at Canadian Running Magazine. Which
friends of the show.
They are friends. I think they need to sponsor the podcast at some point. Like
quietly, yes.
We are plugging them every week.
Those that aren't familiar with Canadian Running Magazine, do yourself a favour.
They actually provide a lot of valuable, serious running content.
They do.
But they also, they deliver when it comes to world records and crazy feats. And
it's almost got a bit of Batuta Advocate satire. Look, and it's all, they only cover stuff that actually happens, but you've nearly got to read it twice to hang on, are they taking the piss here?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. Because you have to think, is this a parody account or not? But
no.
Mississippi College student runs, this is the headline, Mississippi College student runs 51-second 400 meter in Crocs.
Mate, I was impressed before you said Crocs. Like, you could have left Crocs out, and I'm like, that's quick.
Yeah, about the Crocs he's gone. This sprinter truly put his pair of Crocs in sport mode to break to break a Guinness Book to break a Guinness World Record. So it's been done before. It's not like he's just come up with this idea.
No, and look, this world record's got a bit of clout. So it's, sometimes we probably have a bit of a condescending view to some of the records, but former world record holder in the 400 meter Crocs is the one and only Nick Symmonds, former US Olympian.
Yeah, wow.
Who held it in 2020, and he ran 55.6, which I think it had been lowered by someone else since then. But
you like the fact that they go with that Nick's a Olympic finalist now and YouTuber
Yeah, and YouTuber. And I reckon,
he owns a company too. He's a freaking CEO of Run2PB. Like he's a founder and owner of that company. So he's now just known as a YouTuber.
No, he is, and there'd be kids all over America going, "Oh, he's from YouTube," and would like, "Oh yeah, he does running, but he does all this crazy stuff on YouTube. Yeah, he's cool." But no.
So what did he run previously?
So Nick Simmons, because I'm not to confuse with our man Nick, who's just gone around and tidied up the world record. But Nick Simmons went around in 55.6 in 2020, and there is a YouTube video of that. He's apparently that's been viewed 300,000 times. Wow. But Nicholas from Kirchlingern in Germany.
Oh, good pronunciation there.
I've given it a crack, mate, and my sincere apologies to everyone who lives there because I probably have absolutely butchered that.
Yeah, but big German listener base as well.
Oh, we do. Hopefully we can get some bratwurst or something sent our way as part of if anyone's listening, the sauerkraut for our German fans. We do enjoy our German treats, but I digress. 51.84 for our man Nicholas. So he has dusted Nick by the best part of 4 seconds, which over 400 meters, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's but to put it into perspective too, like Nick is a pretty serious decathlete and he has a PB of 47.1. And he's actually a current decathlete. So he ran in the NCAAs this year in Div 2.
Okay.
And knocked up he's 23, he's got a PB of 47.1. And I like in the article that they've clarified that was wearing spikes.
Well, yeah, I don't know if that's an impressive run then, if he can run 51 in the cross, but then he can only go 47 in the, is that in the decathlon though, maybe?
Yeah. You reckon he might be a 45 man?
Yeah, I reckon it should be if you can run that in crocs.
Yeah.
Like 51. Yeah. No, well, it's just, I mean, it begs the question, does Simmons fire back and say, hey, let's go over 800, 2 laps, in the crocs?
Potentially. I reckon, and the Bison is someone who does, he is rather partial to being called out through the social media and accepting a challenge. So, maybe
a full field, make a full deck of 800 going around in the crocs.
Well, I've had a thought in the last couple of minutes. It's just come to me. It's world champs, Olympics, Commonwealth Games. There's only 8 people that make the final. Why not run a B final and they have to run in crocs?
I like it, Christo.
There could be some prestige in it. Like it's a separate world record, and it could just open up. I guess for people who specialize in crocs, and it has to be flat crocs. Like you can't just go and buy a pair of crocs and whack a spike plate in it. That's no. You can't be doing that.
Yeah, it's basically a hocko, isn't it?
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, geez. No, I can't. Sorry. So apologies to all those hopper owners. I was going to say something rather defamatory, which I don't want to get kicked off the podcast. But
you're onto something here, mate. We need innovation in the sport. We need more eyeballs. I think there's definitely a hunger for people to watch croc racing.
Absolutely. Like buy a pair of Crocs, flip it into sport mode, like put the strap down, take it out of gardening mode, put the strap
what
down.
are the other modes you have Crocs in?
Well, apparently it comes in 2. You can have casual or you can have sport, and that's totally governed by the strap at the back. So if the strap's down, we're going sport. Like it's on, it's full noise. We mean business.
So you get an instruction manual when you buy Crocs, Chriso?
Well, not being a Croc owner myself, but I believe that there would be an instruction kit on how to get the strap into the right spot. Particularly for running a quick 400. But yeah, when the strap's up, it's casual. Like it's flannelette shirts, it's jorts, so jean shorts for those who are familiar with those, but and some casual Crocs, but otherwise when the strap's down, it's half tights and racing singlets. So mate, keep an eye out around the 10. There could be some people doing a long run in Crocs as we speak this on the weekend.
I reckon if we see anyone running in Crocs over the weekend, we'll know we've reached a couple of listeners.
No, and look, not too late for a Christmas present. Those that maybe looking for an alternative for the new year, new goals, new year.
Yeah,
Croc running.
I like it.
Yeah,
hard to top that. But
very.
we've got a serial. I was going to say serial pest, but I won't. We've got our man Tate Dobson, who was on. We featured him probably a couple of episodes ago.
Yeah, we did. We gave Tate plenty of airtime, thinking that beauty, we've covered that. We're never going to hear from him
tick
again.
that box. Yeah, we'll never hear about this again. The algorithms have absolutely cooked my
mate. I'd hate to log on to YouTube on your computer at the moment for the things that be popping up through there.
Well, this came through my Facebook feed, and it's from Runner's World. And it says suggested for you, 21-year-old Tate Dobson has covered 36 miles in just under 6 hours. Yep, he's done it again. So he's run it around the roundabout the other way.
He's gone in reverse. Oh no.
Yeah.
Hey, what you doing, bro? No.
He did it. I'm trying to remember if they've got a date when he did it the first time. They did talk about how he came about this, and it has come out, it has been leaked that he was a few drinks deep at the Elephant in the Room, which is a pub in California.
Yeah.
When he thought out aloud to some friends, I wonder how many times I can run around this roundabout.
What's impressive, so that somehow they've calculated it out. So 36 miles around a roundabout is 415 laps.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
I really don't know how to he's actually got in his in this article that he settled in listening to music and texting friends.
Yeah, okay.
He's sending out text messages while he's running around the roundabout. Yeah, okay.
Mate, you can't do it in the car. Well, I suppose you just get out and do it on the runs. Flick some text messages, just It
was 4 days later. So he did the first one on November 30, and then this second effort, 4 days later. So he was told that not switching directions is a bad idea, so I balanced it out.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I just reckon Tate's got plenty of talent. I just want him to put it towards some good use. Like, jump in a race, my friend.
Yeah.
Although, for all we know, there's probably a roundabout world championships that we have not uncovered yet. And Tate could be a future world champion. Who knows?
Now that you've mentioned it, and Mr. Zuckerberg will be listening, I'm sure I'll be sent some links to the National Roundabout Championships.
You know, it would be impressive though if Tate had run this in Crocs.
Now you're getting silly, Christo.
Hang on. No. I think
you're too far.
If Tate wants some kudos, I think let's put the shoes away. And look, who knows what he's running in, but maybe he can have a chat to the two Nicks, and they can do a 3-way challenge. Maybe they all run a 400, and then they have a last man standing event around a roundabout. Like, that's got to be worth a few views, doesn't it?
Mate, yeah. The amount of views that some really silly things get, I would not put it past.
Got anything you can recommend?
No, I'll put that myself. Maybe put something in the show notes, but yeah. Mate, we should, before we continue to just out of control, a little bit of housekeeping before we throw to a chat I had earlier with Mitch Dyer, who was backed by popular demand.
Mate, didn't that get some comments? Our man Mitch, he just brought the energy and the quality content.
And he continued it at Zatopek. So
wasn't he?
Chatted about that. We went into, he's obviously commentating like 20, I mean, he commentated for the night, but like the 25 laps, just the guy, if there's ever a man that is made for commentary, it's Mitchy. So yeah,
He-
had a good chat about that.
He needs a gig on other sports too. Like I would sit
Yeah.
there and happily, if he was commentating cricket, and I love cricket,
Mm.
but I'll tell you what, if Mitchie was doing it, much better content, believe
Yeah.
me.
And he could go for the full day of the test, I reckon.
Yeah, and with the same
Probably by
energy
himself.
too. With the
Yeah. So we'll throw to that in a second. Last one, Chris, before we leave.
yes.
Did you see the video that we dropped on our socials, including with our man mattress?
I did, and anytime mattress is featured, it's must watch. But
On
on
the
this
throwback
occasion,
there.
mate, oh mate, it's criminal that mattress doesn't get more recognition for the contribution he makes to YouTube. If I may indulge and make a suggestion for those who have some free time over the Christmas New Year period, there's a video. This is probably my favorite one. There's a video that Mattress made that's on our YouTube channel called "The Taste of Success."
Yeah. Oh, that was peak lockdown, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. He was not in a good place, old
No.
Mattress.
And he's got not only there's a set of super shoes in between two pieces of bread. So check that out. But he's also there. There's literally two mattresses in the same room.
Yeah.
He's having a conversation with himself. It only goes for 4 minutes, people. If you've made it this far into the podcast and tolerated us listening to Crocs, you can give up 4 minutes of your time to watch some absolute comedy gold from our man Mattress.
Head down to Woolies, get some spinach, and watch mattresses. you'll be in all sorts if you're seeing two mattresses.
You'll certainly question your life choices. No, it is very funny. It's probably the sort of thing you watch a couple of times. It's good, but no. Back to what we're actually talking about. Oh, I can't believe you said go and buy some spinach from Woolworths. No, we've got some gift certificates, mate. Maddie was plugging some gift certificates.
He was
for Run2PB. So for those loved ones in your life who have maybe they already have some Run2PB coaching, or you might be trying to entice someone for the first time to get into a bit of coaching, there's some gift certificates available, mate. Give us a rundown. What's actually involved? What limits can they do? Do they all need to be made out to you? How does it work?
No, there's 4 options. You've got a park run. So you've got someone who wants to just maybe dip the toes in a bit of an 8-week program. So we've got a park run 5K specific option. We've got a 10K 10-week program and a couple of 12-week half marathon and marathon campaigns that someone can get involved. So you don't have to, obviously when you gift this, the coach will be in touch with the recipient. You get it emailed to you, which you can pass on to the recipient, which is a nice presented gift. You can print it out, put it in a card, and also you can commence it at any time. I think we've got up to 2 years validation on it. So, if someone's wanting to look at a marathon block, we've got something in mind maybe for Melbourne later in the year, they don't have to start straight away. And we're really flexible on that. So they can touch base and we can say, hey, you can continue running as you were, and we'll pick this up from this date. So we're really, really, excited to offer this. I think it's a good little stocking filler, mate. And we've had a few come through just in the last 24 hours of people that are hard to buy for, I think. And you've got someone who's into running and maybe just wants to give it a crack and try the experience of having a run coach.
No, I love it. I think, and there's a lot of very generous people out there too that want to get into the spirit of giving, and here we are, mate. Perfect timing. Hopefully this will go out to the listeners before Christmas. But this is a gift certificate's good for all year round, mate, not just for Christmas Day.
That is true. And so all the details on the website, and there's a link. It's in our bio, and there's an Instagram post and Mattress starring in that little video.
That's it. And don't forget, there's plenty of Mattress videos on YouTube too. So there's literally, I think there's nearly a dozen. So
chuck them on at the Christmas Day festivities.
It could be, it could be it could be something good to show the person that you buy the gift certificate for. This is what they're in for. Welcome, meet your coach Mattress.
Oh, okay, mate. I think we need to end it there before we get in any more trouble.
No, all good. All good.
No.
No, thanks for tonight.
Thank you, Chriso. And like we said, we'll leave the show with a bit of a chat with Mitch, and we'll be back next week for another chat, and it'll be our last one for the year.
No, looking forward to it, and looking forward to listening to Mitch too. You filled me in, and it sounds like it was a really good chat with lots of, some pretty in-depth questions there, and Mitch is good at sort of sharing his honest opinions too. So, no, very keen for this one.
Chat. No. All right, mate. Enjoy. Have a safe Christmas, mate.
Yeah, you too. Enjoy, and we'll chat soon on the other side of it.
Sounds good. Take care.
See ya.
Got it.
Joining us back on the Better With Running podcast by popular demand is a sports journalist and a Courier Mail commentator and all-round running nuffy, Mitch Dyer. Welcome back to the show, mate.
Thanks for having me, Zacca. Appreciate it. Good to know popular demand. The first one must have gone all right then. That's exciting.
Yeah, mate. A lot of people enjoying your energy, and then they got to cop it at the Zatopek on the live stream. You were a man on the ground. I want to hear about that. Calling the shots. How was it?
Yeah, it was great, mate. I love when AV does call me back for events. It was really really quite nice, and I love calling it with Tim and Nick as well. They called me a lot as a junior, so it feels really cool to be able to sit in the booth with them now and be on the other side of it. But it was awesome. It was really well run. It was really well done, and the events themselves obviously proved to be really high quality. It was probably, I don't know, some of the results I probably didn't anticipate, to be honest with you. And that's what makes it exciting, but some of them seemed almost like a lock before the race even began, so it was good to see that follow through with fruition. But it was always a special thing to be able to do the Zatopek, and as you said, people were forced to put up with me. I'm pretty outlandish and I'm pretty loud, and so much so, I'll tell you a story from the night. I was on the back straight, and I had to present a long jump trophy, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but I made it look like I did. And anyway, I'm leaning on this fence, and this older gentleman comes up to me and he goes, "Excuse me, mate." He goes, do you know how to turn down the speakers?" I was like, "Oh, sorry, mate." He goes, "Oh, do you know how to turn down the speakers in this place?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't work in tech, mate. I'm sorry." I had no idea that I was the commentator. And he goes, "Oh, well, when these blokes start yammering on, I can't even hear myself think." He goes, "So do you know how you can turn it down?" I was like, "Oh, mate, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't have the heart to tell him that it was me." And I was like, "Oh, no, I'm really sorry." He goes, "You know what? I was really looking forward to the men's 10K, but I'm going home." He's like, "I'm not listening to these blokes." And I was like, "Oh, all right, mate, have a good night." I was like, "Oh,
wow.
Shit, maybe I need to turn myself down." But
mate,
outside of that,
the feedback from my side is contrary to that. Like, I've had a lot of positive feedback, and just on that, like we'll rip into a bit about the races and your takes on that. But even just commentating 25 laps, I mean, you did the whole night, but that 25 laps, how hard is that? And also just your experience as a commentator, like getting your feet wet with a few more of these gigs. How are you finding it?
Yeah, it's I think I've changed a lot since when I first started. And I mean, that's only natural. You sort of just pick up things. And for me this time around, particularly with the World Cup on, I really tried to listen to other commentators in other sports and I thought maybe I'd be tasked with the job of finishing off these races. So I really wanted to try and encapsulate the moment. And, Tim is so good at just sort of letting me run free as well. He rarely tries to hold me back. And only if he does, he knows that I'm going too far. So he's so good at knowing probably me better than me. So yeah, I really wanted to make sure that Oh, we're back. But yeah, as I was saying, so Tim knows me better than me. I can go off the edge of the cliff really quickly. So he brings me back really well. And in terms of the 25 laps, mate, I mean, it won't shock anyone. I'm yet to run out of something to say. I'm always pulling on something or, something I might know about somebody or just trying to bring something into it. So I quite enjoy it. I mean, Nick Wall is so good at the sprints because he thinks so quickly. Like he knows what's going on so quickly, whereas I'm a bit of a slow burner. So I quite enjoy it, but there are moments where it's a bit tough and you don't want to repeat yourself. You don't want people to get bored of hearing the same thing. But yeah, I'm yet to hear of that happening.
No, you're doing a great job, mate. Bit of I saw Bruce McAvaney get thrown around, and then BT, Howie, bit of a mix of all three. Where do you reckon you land?
Oh, I don't know. I reckon I've got the BT probably because of the emotional side of it. Like,
Yeah.
and it's just hysteria. And I know it does, like, it has the potential to rub some people the wrong way because it is so over the top and outlandish. But I just sometimes find in athletics, it's got the persona of being a boring sport, but it's not boring. Like the things that go on inside of a race and the build up to it is actually quite interesting. So I always want to try and bring a little bit of a different flavor to it and just really hit home that, you know, this shit is hard. Like running is hard, and what the athletes out there are doing is difficult. So I try and bring that to it as well as a little bit of entertainment. So I'm probably BT, I would say.
Yeah. No, I don't think you're doing it. Like, you got to, and you understand the sport, and there is the stories unfold and moves happen in a race. And if you're getting someone who doesn't understand the intricacies of the sport, these things can get lost. And I reckon if we look at the women's, like Leanne starting out early, like what did she go with, like 15 laps left or something, I think. It was pretty early on. She made a move, and you obviously covered that. She got the win, mate. What was your take on the women's race?
Oh, she was awesome. She was awesome. I was sort of in the box. Tim and I always try and make calls early. You know, who do we think is going to win, and how do we think it's going to pan out? And to Tim's credit, he did say Leanne. I was probably of the opinion that I thought Rose would go the back-to-back-to-back. I thought she would follow through with it, and she ran a really gutsy race. But it was like the moment that Leanne got to the front. And I tend to look at it as it's almost a shock, right? Because you don't see many people go early and hold on to it. And the fact that Leanne, it was almost like, even as a commentator, I was waiting for, I was like, all right, who's going to come over the top here? Like who's going to really push Leanne right now? And they just were happy to let Leanne run her race. And as it got to that 4K mark, she made her way to the front. Nat Rule did a lot of good work early. And then she didn't look back. She just looked so controlled, so composed. It probably wasn't until about 7K where I thought, all right, I reckon she's got this in the bag here. And a really, valiant effort from Izzy late to try and bridge that gap. It was all a little bit too late. But yeah, what a performance. And Tim was saying a lot, Leanne's been around the mark for so long and just hasn't been able to win races. And now, she takes out the biggest one of the year. And it makes that world cross conundrum so much more interesting now, because you probably maybe thought of Leanne as a fringe member of the team potentially, but now you look at her as a real red hot chance to be in that 1, 2, 3 position to go through. And I personally love the front runner. I always think it's so tough to be that person to be hunted. And she just ran with guts, and it was awesome to see. So I loved it personally. And I reckon her last name needs to be turned into a horse, mate, because calling Pompiani, I was loving it. I was like, this is the best last name I could be calling right now. I was frothing it. I reckon Tim was telling me at points, he's like, and Nick Wall came in at one point, I've pumped it up with 12 laps to go. Like, I've gone early. I'm like, let's just get it up. And I remember Nick came in, he's like, you've gone on 12 laps to go, you nuffy, like pull it in. I'm like, pump it up. I'm like, 12, I should have gone with 20. I'm like, this is huge. So yeah, she was awesome.
Yeah, it's it's becoming a theme, I think, Leanne. She's sort of, like we were saying, in the underdog status, and then just coming out and ripping it apart and getting on the front, being aggressive. I know she did that down at, I think it was at Launceston. Did she win that one? I feel like she won a road race. Took down Sinead, potentially. Anyway, she's just strength to strength, and it's awesome to see. Bit of a new face, or not a new face, but it maybe a changing of the guard in that next tier, and putting herself out there.
Mate, it's exciting.
It is, and we'll talk about. I'll get your take also on World Cross, because I reckon this giving us a bit of form line, this 10K, both the men and the women. Over to the men's, mate. Your man Jack Rayner got the job done, but early on, Guzman was he just thought,
he was pushing it, wasn't he?
Test the waters. Well, was he pushing it? Because didn't they go through the first half in like 14:50 or something?
Yeah, they weren't quick, mate. They were. I think I called it early. I said, this is just pedestrian out here. And to be honest with you, I hate it. I hate that type of racing. I can see where it has its place and all that sort of stuff, but people paying money to come in and see, and you don't run for people to spectate. And I understand that, but you know, the first half of it was quite boring. I love what Jordan did personally. I think that, you know, it's not that they would have been worried. And, you know, they spoke to Jack after the race and he was like, I wasn't worried of Jordan running away, but it does put into people's minds, shit, we better get this into gear now and we better start really attacking the race. And Jordan would have known what he was doing as well, and trying to sort of, I guess, tempt people into picking up that pace and maybe flush some legs out before it got to the kick. But, you know, they all then happily tucked in. There was a little bit of a circus at the front for a while. And then, to be honest, I don't know what they were expecting. Like, it was always going to be a point of Jack eventually going, all right, you're going to give it to me. I'm going to take it. I'm going to go and do what I need to do. And he almost just turned it into a fartlek. He was just alternating his speed and alternating his laps. And, you know, power to Matt Clark. I thought he was really brave, Matt Clark. And it's not easy to do because Clarky's got nothing to lose. But at the same time, the chat that goes on afterwards is like, well, why would Matt why would he put himself in that position? But someone has to do it. Like, someone has to keep these guys, you know, accountable at the front. And I thought it was really brave. And the telling part of Matt's race was, you know, he finished 10th, but he was sprinting down the line to be as high as he possibly could be. So it's not like he gave up. He just didn't quite have that stamina that Jack had. And that's not to take anything away from Jack either. He just flexed his muscles and showed his class. And he's a scary athlete when he's on, Jack. Like, to go from 68s, 70s to then just clicking 62s. It's not it's unhealthy. I was just watching it. I was like, shit, like, he's just burning these guys. And his last K was just Jack being Jack, just doing what he had to do. And once it got to 7K, it was like, right, this is over. And Jack's going to win this one. What's the next headline? And it's Andre Waring coming through for second place. You know, he's such a cool story. Yeah, and he's, you know, we were just talking before this. I'm running in the F grade 1500 tomorrow night. Andre started his athletic career in the F grade 1500. And so for him to reap the rewards of all the hard work, and I've been very lucky to sort of see some of, not even all of it, the behind the scenes that he does. So good to see, and so good for Steve and the crew at Deneen Runners. But yeah, it was just, I don't know. Jack was just Jack, and it was a good race over the back half. But I sort of wish that first half shaped a little differently.
Yeah, there were some casualties in that with that change of pace. You saw a few guys just really fall off a cliff. As it's going to happen when the race has those change of paces. So, and what was it? Jack Bruce was third, rounding out the podium. So Andre was second, and then Jack Bruce. So I'll get your take shortly on those guys as we head into the cross. But I thought we'd mention the under 23K, which is always the bit of the showcase. The most talented junior runners going around the country. And we saw a new under 18 record go down. Amy Bunnage, 9 flat. Took down Welling's record. Yeah, so huge.
Mate, just a crazy race. I'm calling it the best 3K I've ever seen live. It was just metronomic. And you almost, you know, when someone goes out really fast and you sort of like, how long's that going to last? You know, when does this sort of bite them in the ass? It just never did. And it was just, and Tim and I missed the fact it was an Australian record. We knew it was a meet record, didn't know it was an Australian one. And it was just, I was almost like speechless. I was just watching her going, so she's 18 years old or 17, whatever she is. And she's gone out and soloed a 9-minute 3K, broken national records, meet records, you know, heading off to Stanford next year, has the world ahead of her. And I'm just sitting there going, shit, 9 minutes solo. Like, that is just, just insane. And by all accounts, like, she's, you know, very academic. She's a really lovely girl. And, you know, that should excite people, because that is the face of junior athletics. Like, that is the future of junior athletics. And you combine that as well with like Claudia Hollingsworth, you know, junior women's distance running is in such good hands. But yeah, I think we were talking about it before the race, and Tim was like, oh, so who's going to win this? And we both were like, well, you know, we know who's going to win it. It's just by what that margin's going to be. And mate, 20 odd seconds, just
Mm.
textbook.
Scary
It was
stuff.
remarkable. Just so good.
And where do we see Amy in 4 years? And we'll talk about a couple of the guys as well they're heading over to the States. But you put 4 years over in Stanford on the back of that. Yeah, you're already running 9 flat. It's like it can obviously go a few ways when athletes go to college. But yeah, that's it's a scary prospect to think what a 21-year-old Amy Bunnage could be doing, let alone a 17-year-old.
And it's going to be so cool to see. And, you know, the good thing about Stanford is they do have a really good history of developing athletes. And, I mean, look at Kai Robinson over there. He's thriving under the Stanford guidance. I think he's with Ricardo Santos now, who was so good for Iona a couple of years ago. You know, their system is so good. And you're right, the collegiate system can go either way. As somebody who's been through it and definitely did not make the most of the opportunity, I would say that if you go in with athletics as your pure intention, you will end up being really successful. So she seems really switched on. She seems really mature for her age, and I think she'll do really well. And who knows, we might be seeing Pat Tiernan was the last Australian to win a cross nationals.
Yeah.
Could we see Amy Bunnage do the same thing? Come back to me in 1, 2, 3, 4 years time, and hopefully I'm speaking that into existence, because she's that caliber of athlete.
Oh, yeah, exciting prospect. And then on the guys' side, we saw a 16-year-old Cameron Myers. Far out. He's been just taken Australia by storm with his runs. 8:05, taking out Archie Noakes was second, I believe.
Archie came flying down the home straight. Hey, Cameron Myers, just disgusting. And I didn't know he was 16. And Tim's like, and he's 16 years old. I went, nah, you've got that wrong. He's like, no, he's 16. I'm like, mate, he's built bigger than me. I'm 10 years older than him. But it was weird
sort of
because
Kenyan
that race,
age cheating.
Oh, mate, I said down the camera at the end, I said, whatever your parents are feeding you, 1, tell me, and 2, well done. But he just bullied his way through that race. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. They just gave it to him. Like, he just commanded his spots in the field. Like, he was just sort of going back and forth and then pushed his way in front. And Noakes was trying to do similar, but Cam Myers just did it in a different way. And his kick was awesome. And he's just a complete package. I've heard that he just absolutely smashes it in Canberra from a few people, that he just does it his own way. And his sessions are just astonishing. I'm not big on Strava, but I'm sure it's probably on there. You could look it up. But for a 16-year-old, you know, you hope he just develops well. You hope that there's somebody in his corner that's also like helping him do other sports or put his energy into other things, just to have that longevity. But mate, I don't think there's been, I'm trying to think of, you know, even in my era of it with Zach Pattersons and Stapletons and all that sort of stuff that were there around the mark at 16, 17, they didn't win it. Morgan McDonald didn't win it at that age. And so for this guy to come out and do it and beat Archie Noakes, who went to World Juniors, to beat national champions, state champions of every state, pretty crazy.
Yeah, we're looking at potentially someone, you know, a massive name that in athletics in Australia. It's, you know, it's 16 and you don't want to put too much on him, but when you're in a race like that, it's just like, well, you know, you're on an 8:05 and you're crushing the field. It's it's exciting. And well, he's 16, but Archie, he's off to the States. Archie Noakes.
Yeah, he's off to Wisconsin. So he'll be
Morgan.
joining the ranks of, you know, Ollie Hoare, Morgan McDonald. Who else is over there at the moment? We've got 2. Adam Spencer's there, and there's 1 more New South Welshman there at the moment. So
is that Jackson?
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah. So
nice.
I mean, Wisco, they have a really good history with Australians. And Archie's a great young fella, so I'm sure he'll thrive under Mick Byrne.
What do you think about? I mean, I know you've been in the system. I was in this system a long time ago as well, just at a Div 2. So we kind of both know what the US system entails. But I suppose, you know, for these athletes, like, I know it's you know, the options it's a really hard sell to say to someone, stay here in Australia if you've got an offer on the table, because what's the pathway, and how do we, you know, is there something that maybe we can do also as an alternative here, or like, have you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the system it's awesome. Like, what you get in America is phenomenal. And I personally, when I moved over there, didn't actually appreciate just how valuable having doctors, physios, training facilities, everything of that capacity at your fingertips. You know, it's remarkable. So to have that available is awesome. I think, you know, my junior coach, Steve Ellinghouse, said to me, he didn't necessarily want me to go. He didn't think I was mature enough at the time to go. And he was right. And I remember he said to me, you know, maybe go as a grad transfer, like do your degree here, run your junior years here. If you want to go for a year or two when you're 22, 23, you're still loving it, go then. And upon reflection, I probably think, yeah, maybe that would have been good for me. Maybe that would have been a better option. I think I was just immature no matter what. Like if I stayed in Australia or America, I was going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
But I think that is an option that maybe isn't spoken about enough, going over to do grad work. And a lot of schools look for that. A lot of schools look for mature age recruits. So I think that's an option. And to be able to, I think events are big. I mean, making junior events or that transition from junior to senior more exciting. Having them in events, even if they're not going to win it, they might not be top 5, but having them in these events, I think just gives them that exposure and, you know, excitement to be like, oh yeah, competing in Australia, this is awesome. This is what I get from it. So I think that's a good idea. And
it's a challenge, isn't it?
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough because it's hard to say to some, like if, again, people said to me at 18, you're probably not ready to go. And I was just like, piss off. Like I'm going, this has been my dream, it's been my goal for so long. But I think if we can make it more sexy in Australia, if we can make it more appealing, then maybe more kids will stay. But I think just do what's best for them. Yeah.
MTC is probably the viable alternative, I guess, or the most attractive alternative for, say, a 17, 18-year-old going, well, if uni's not for me and if I'm not going down that path, then I can stay and train with some of the world's best in a professional environment and then find your feet in other ways. That's
and they
probably
do it
as
so
close
well.
you get. So
they just do that so well. And I mean, that's a credit to Nick and what he's built and you know, how he's able to develop athletes and give them that opportunity globally as well. I think guys like hopefully Sean Whip and other managers as well will be able to sort of jump in on that process and get people into events and whatnot. But I think the more that our talent shines, the more likely we're going to have these opportunities and more likely people are going to have eyeballs on Australia, which we deserve to have.
Yeah, well, I reckon off the back of what Morgan and Ollie and Jess Hull have done, it's just like, I imagine these recruiters are going, well, wow, we're just gonna we want some Aussies over in our teams because they can run.
Yeah, big time. So that's exciting.
Mate, moving over to the World Cross Trials coming up in Sunday, mid-Jan, Sunday the 15th of Jan up at Stromlo. You would have done a couple of races up there, I imagine?
I reckon I've done 2 races at Stromlo. No, the one. I did the World Junior Cross Trials when I was a junior. And that was
that
it.
2015?
Yeah, 2015.
Yeah, I was up there that year as well.
Yeah, I got smacked. Yeah, hot day. I got smacked. I think I came 3rd last or something like that, to be honest. I did pass, like not pass out, but I fainted during the trials. But let me just say, even if I didn't faint, I still wasn't making that team. I was dead. There's no way. But it's a tough course. You think it's going to be easy, but there's elements to it where you're just like, Jesus, this is hard work.
And maybe because it is, you know, it's a groomed grass track. So, you know, it's as close as we get to running on a golf course in, you know, an NCAA setup.
So well curated.
So do people just go out there like free beer and just that's why they talk, because it's just like, well, when we're used to being in choppy conditions, we used to Bandura, we used to, you know, that South Australian course that was out of control. Like, are we finding that athletes just go out really hard? And I guess this will be everything's on the line at this trials, getting to race at your home, on home turf at Bathurst. So, mate, what are you thinking, men's and women's? It's
going to be cool. It's going to be this process. This will be one of the hardest ones to make, I think, because what I love about cross country is it brings up track speed with endurance base. So those that are really good at 5K, 10K, half marathons, marathons go, oh shit, yeah, we can go to cross country. We'll be so good. people that are really good at 1500s, 3Ks, borderlining into that 5K go, well, shit, we got the speed. We only need to go a couple K more. We can give that a crack. So you just get this really cool mix of athletes that roll in, all hunting 6 spots. That's it. There's only 6. And there's people that aren't going to compete at the trials that will put in to make the team. So you've got so many elements that you're like, oh my God, who's going to make this? You know, guys like, don't be surprised if a Morgan McDonald puts his hand up and goes, you've seen my track record. Can I get in on this team? You know, we're talking about all the guys in the NCAA that might do the same. Those that are living and training overseas might do the same. So you just never know. I know Ollie Hoare's back in Australia. Is he doing the trials? I mean, I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to look, but guys of that caliber, you go, shit, he could do the trials if he wants to.
First 3 across the line.
I think that'll be fun.
First
3 automatic, and then you've got selection, you know, whoever they want to pick, they can pick. Even in terms of the women, you look at that 10K and you've got to keep in mind that not in that top 3 is Amelia Mazzodowney, is Lauren Ryan, you know, Jess Stenson didn't even race. You've got Sinead Diver, you have not Jess Stenson, sorry. So many marathon, but there's so many names. I can't even remember.
Ali Passley,
so many marathon. Yeah, Ali Passley. Yeah, Eloise, that's what I was thinking of. You think of all that talent, and then junior talent as well. That's just out of the juniors and just now progressing into the seniors. And the coolest thing about cross country is there's so many variables that change the result. Who's good at running uphill? Who's good at downhill? Who saved their kick to the end? Who handles, we're just talking about the heat well, who handles all these variables well enough to be able to get through the course. Picking the winner, picking the team is near impossible. I reckon near impossible.
At least those 3 will take the guesswork out for them, because it's just like, well,
thank Christ. I wouldn't want to be a selector. I would not want to be a selector of this team. Like,
I mean,
it would just be horrifying.
You know, there's some that are under the radar, like a Mel Duncan or Georgia Hansen, or, you know, it is stacked. It's going to be.
What about Seth O'Donnell?
Yeah, on the men's side, I don't know where Setho's been. No, he wasn't. He wasn't at Zato, obviously.
Didn't see him at all. Neither did I. But he's our national cross country champion. Beat Andre Waring. He's second. At, you know what I mean? Like, you put the head to heads of these athletes together, you'd just be sitting there and it'd be like long division. You're going, they beat them there. And
computer.
Like the transitive property just doesn't exist in distance running at the moment. So it's I'm excited. I'm keen as. I can't wait to see how it all goes down. Even in the juniors, I just think, are we going to see Cam Myers at 16 make the team? I think that's a very real possibility. The juniors though?
Or does he just go to the juniors and try and win that?
That's the thing. You just don't know. So I'm keen as for it. And Stromlo is just tough, as you said. Yeah, whether it's the fact that it's curated so well, whether it's the fact that it's Bathurst, again, another element to it. You get to do it on the first time ever, maybe the only time ever on home soil.
Brett and Jack, though, you got to pencil them in. Like you'd always get them in as it'd be hard to not select them even if they don't finish. You know, I don't know if they'll both run the trials. Brett maybe not off the back.
I can see it being like a Brett, Stewie, Jack top 3 potentially.
But you got the relay in there as well. So does Stewie go on the 2K relay?
That's exactly right. Does he just do that and try and get our speed into the event and try and win a medal that way? Like there's so many elements to it now. I think he'd be so like Stewie is a really good cross country runner. Like he's been to World Cross as a junior, and I'm pretty sure as a senior as well. He's got that caliber
at the last one in 2019. So the team was Bruce, McSwain, Rayner, Robinson, Harry Summers, blast in the past there, and Tiernan. So, geez,
there you go, Tiernan as well. Like, Christ, you got him just everywhere. It's never been happier not to be a competitor and having to try and fight for that team. Like that is just insanity.
I mean, we haven't even touched on Andy Buchanan. You know, he's a 2:12 marathoner who he's won national a couple of times. So does he even get in the conversation to get in the 6? It's brutal.
I know. You could just about make a case for anybody. It's crazy.
It's going to be exciting, mate. Looking forward to that unfolding. I reckon we'll get you on probably closer to that, because I reckon there'll be some storylines developing in that week line. We'll get the we'll get the start list. We'll unpack that. We'll get your rumors. I know you've always got something cooking away there. You can just start.
Yeah, I'm always working. I'm always working. Don't worry. And if I've got none, I'll make some up.
Yeah, well, that's what
No,
we
I
do.
wouldn't. I'd never do that. Yeah, I'd never do. Definitely don't have burner accounts anyway. So we're fine.
Nice, mate. It's been good to chat. Good to catch up about Zatopek and the trials. And I know. And let's milers just quickly. Tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Back on the mic, but you're in the races as well.
Yeah, I'm spinning the wheels over. First time in 5 years, I'll step foot on an outdoor track and compete.
Jeez.
I usually have excuses. I really do. I usually opt out of it, but I followed through this time. No idea what sort of shape I'm in. I'm hoping it's muscle memory drags me across the line, to be honest, but I'm throwing down against my good mate, Pete Chappell. And now jumping in on that is Steve Deneen. So he's found himself into the race.
Jeez,
and he's been
going well though. Whoa.
Well, this is the thing. He's talking shit, being like, you should beat an old man, rah, rah, rah. I'm like, mate, you've been training for, 60 years. Yeah. How am I meant to compete with that? So I reckon, I'm a confident man. I reckon I'll dust him. I reckon I've got him. I feel, and Pete, he's seen my back all through my teenage years. You can see it at 26. So I'm keen, mate. I'm excited. I'm going for the win. I'm not messing around. I'm going to win it.
A few spies. It's said you were spotted around Albert Park in a park run.
I was, mate, and I went in there. I'll get a good base tester here. Like I'll really see where I'm at. Was hopeful of a low 16, and those who ever watched me run as a junior, this will shock you. I was like this young kid in front of me. He would have been 12, 13, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, I'm going to sit off this kid. I'm going to burn him. I'm like, I'm just going to burn this kid over the last 2K. And I'm running with confidence. I'm feeling good. Yeah, this is all right. Mate, halfway, he just goes straight on. And I'm looking at my legs. I'm like, come on, lads. Like, this is the plan. We got to kick past him. And he burnt the shit out of me. And another bloke too. And I just got cooked. And I went, all right, just got to make the finish line here. And made it, I think I was 16:57 or something like that. So I did get in the 16s.
Nice.
But gonna need to train up. Yeah, just blow the cobwebs out. So it was good. That's it. It's only 1,500. So I'm excited. I'm going to try and go for the win. You'll see me go for the win. And if I fall spectacularly short, you can all witness that. So that's exciting.
Mate. And then what, you're going to jump onto the mic after that?
Yeah, jump straight back onto the mic.
Jeez. Cool down or straight on?
Nah, straight on. Might even bring the mic around with me yet. You never know.
Love it, mate. Well, good luck with the race, mate, and a good call tomorrow night. We'll definitely be tuning in and have a good Chrissy, mate. Good to catch up.
You too, mate. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and thanks for having me on. And looking forward to the rest of it, mate. You're doing great work, so thank you.
Cheers, Mitchy. Take care, mate.
Appreciate you, mate.